Oh, does that look okay?
Yep, looks great. Yeah, where are you located?
Upper Michigan, 100 miles north of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Uh, but in upper, Michigan's in two peninsulas. So, where are you at?
I'm in Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just gave a presentation there last fall, I think it was. Yeah,
You did what now?
presentation over there.
Oh, cool. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is prime location for ticks. You got an interesting story. And before we delve into that, I want to know, how did you get through COVID? How did you survive that the last 3 years? And how has it changed you?
Personally, you mean, or business?
I think they all arc together. I think overall it's kind of just a holistic approach.
You got my political views? What you're asking?
No, 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 no. I don't want to go down that road. I just want to know, just in general, everybody kind of had their thing of like just mental sanity of getting through it, so to speak. And I think there's parts of how we believe COVID was played out that's a part of it. But no, I'm not definitely driving down that path of wanting to get political about it.
I mean, we got through pretty good. I mean, my dad was in nursing home at that time, and he actually made it through. Believe it or not, a lot of people in nursing home died. Um, but then he ended up dying here about see in June this year. I mean, he was ready to go. 4 years. I had a sister-in-law that probably died that April in Colorado. My wife's sister. It was so early on. I mean, just April of 2020 when things were starting to ramp up.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. I remember we probably had it about 3 times, and each time it got a little easier to handle. The first time was probably the worst. Just sucked the energy right out of you.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I guess we're doing okay now.
Okay.
How about yourself then?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we got it and made it through, and tried to stay active, and getting out and seeing things, and mobility is a big part of our lives, so it was just keeping that up. So yeah, I mean, it had a monopoly on it, so we had to figure something out,
Yeah,
you know. So let's get to the crux of what you do for a living. If I put you in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day, and you come in and you're the Tick Terminator, and they're not sure what that means because it could mean a superhero. You never know where they're going to go, right? So, how, tell if one of the kids says, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I try to help people stay protected from ticks. I try to help keep ticks off from people and give them ideas about how ticks operate, uh, how let's see, different repellents that you can use to keep them off from you. What happens if you get bit by a tick? How do you take a tick off? Uh, I call myself a tick and Lyme disease prevention specialist.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not a I'm not a PhD in entomology, and study of bugs. It's just pretty much kind of ticks and mosquitoes are kind of my forte, if you want to say it that way. Um, I'm all self-taught, just because I've had a fascination with ticks over, a lot of my life, and just kind of evolved into this in the last probably 10 years. You know, it's funny you should ask that because I'm trying to get into schools to
Yeah.
teach kids. Third graders are. I'm looking at junior high and high school, where I can, have to be even more careful. I'm trying to think how I can really word it to a third grade so they can understand it. You know what I mean?
So this was all a precursor. So let me ask you this: what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
Probably at that time, I probably wanted to be a farmer because I lived in a farm town in Lower Michigan at that time,
Okay.
and I was a John Deere nut, believe it or not. I mean, we even toured John Deere, Moline, Illinois, there in when I was a junior in high school.
Okay. Okay.
For that John Deere's, and since I moved, and life changes,
Yeah.
I've done new. I mean, I'm gonna be 65 here in a couple months, so I mean, I've done a lot of different things over my career, but a lot of times it's been selling and working with people and stuff like that. So this has been an awful lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, so tell me how this fascination kind of started and how it's kind of, been a wave that's crested up to today.
Uh, when I was a kid, where I lived, we didn't have any ticks. All right, we would travel up to my grandparents about 500 miles away in Upper Michigan, and we would, little kid, they had a beautiful spot, a couple hundred acres in the woods. And as my brothers and I were playing in the woods at night, mom would come in, or you're a little kid, 4 or 5 years old. You'd strip down. I tell people, strip down, nothing but a smile, stand there, mama do a tick check on us. And the ticks were it was like a novelty, when you go to grandparents' house, you're going to get some ticks. And in my little brain of a 4 or 5 year old, 6 year old, ticks were nothing more than a mosquito who couldn't fly. They suck your blood. That was in the 60s. They suck your blood, but you never had a problem with them. We never even talked about any diseases, nothing ever. So we ended up moving up here in '79 when I got married, and we would have ticks. Obviously then when we were living here, probably about 10 years ago is when the the interest really peaked again. And I started doing experiments with ticks in the basement. I bring my grandkids in there, and they call it a wood ticking with Papa. We put them on the floor on a white carpet, and just watch them react to different things. I'd go upstairs and try to bring down cleaning products, see if I could get them to move for different cleaning products, smells and scents and stuff like that to get them reacting. It was just fun. And then I had a buddy about the same time going through a real struggle with Lyme disease. I'm sure you probably heard of Lyme disease. It's
Yeah.
huge. And so I started researching even more, and I eventually bumped into a product called permethrin, which I found to be the best repellent you can possibly use to keep ticks off from you. And from there, I realized that there's not a whole lot out there about prevention. There's all kinds of great information about Lyme disease, how to handle it, support groups, things like that, but not a whole lot about prevention. So I thought, man, this is really cool what I just learned here. I need to tell this to people. So that was probably, let's see, about 7 years ago when that evolved into that. I did a few little radio segments at that time. I was just excited about it. Wanted to tell people how to prevent it. It's all about prevention. Keep a tick off. You can't get bit. You can't get bit. You can't get Lyme or any other tick-borne disease. So that was my goal. Is all about prevention. And eventually, the Tick Terminator came on. And I don't know if your people see, but my logo is a tick in the shape of a hand grenade, which I have a lot of fun with, being a Tick Terminator, because it's a war out there. So
Yeah.
that's kind of evolved. Is that kind of answering your question?
Yeah, absolutely it does. Who's been kind of a hero for you in your life?
Uh, Lifelong, probably my dad is probably one of them. Definitely. Uh, I've always thought a lot about him. He was a state cop and just a great father figure, which I'm very fortunate, blessed to have that. But yeah, I'd probably say my dad was.
So, what is the motivation for you every day to do the work that you do? What is the spark, the fire that gets you to do this?
After I'm done with the presentation, it is really cool to have people come up to me and say, thank you. I learned some stuff about ticks. I mean, you know how that is when somebody thanks you, for doing that. And so I feel like I'm really making a difference. Okay. It's just gratifying to do that. I mean, I even wrote a book here too, just recently. I don't know if you can see it right there.
Yeah.
It's The War on Ticks. It just got published here, like a couple months ago. I was going to call it Tick Suck, but my mom, who was the editor, or one of my editors, said, "Nah, you better change." So I changed it to Winning the War on Ticks. But it's just really cool helping people, about this, because a lot of people don't know a whole lot about ticks. They all hate them, and nobody wants them. They don't want to get bit by them. You don't want Lyme disease, but what about prevention? And then I come along, and I'm a pretty open guy, and I'm very social. You know what I mean? And my friends will ask me questions, and I speak at different conferences, safety conferences around the country. Love to speak more, to all kinds of different areas. Even businesses have called me, like an insurance company or a water company, for me to come and talk to all their people, from the secretary to the janitor to the CEO to everybody, about ticks and Lyme disease prevention or any other disease. So it's gratifying. That's probably how I can answer your question. It's fun to have for telling them what I know. So that motivates me to do even more and to help people more.
What's been your best success story or fan letter you've gotten?
Oh, probably on it was just recently. So I work with this very unique product. Okay, it's called permethrin. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but there's other ones out there in the market that are not as good as ours. And this one guy just the other day is pretty cool how he had said that he had been looking for something like ours, and he was happy that he finally found it because he tried other stuff and he didn't feel quite right about it because he was using a permethrin that was designed for farms, agricultural animals, and we as humans we have stuff made for humans, you have stuff made for animals, and he always felt a little funny and wished he could find something made for humans, and he did. And I even showed my wife. I said, "Honey, look at this. This is really cool." That really warmed my heart. And it's probably one of the best letters I've gotten. But just the other day, it happened to me.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this. What are you the proudest of that you've done in your life so far?
Uh, Probably my biggest accomplishment in life. I'm a Christian, but worldly speaking, probably my biggest accomplishment has been my marriage.
Yeah.
I'm going on 45 years married to my high school sweetheart, still love and still think she's hot.
Nice.
And it's really cool to do that. All my brothers, I should say, us three boys, have all been married to our first and one and only. I've been married almost 45 years. My older brother another couple years after me, more than me. My younger brother did the same thing. So it's my marriage is probably my biggest accomplishment that I can think of right now.
Excellent. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, your fans, the readers, those that hear you speak, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, you're asking some good questions here.
It's a therapy hour.
Uh, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. I'm not a big fake in front of people. I can't be that way. Uh, this is who I am, what I do. The way I treat my wife in public is the way I treat her in private. I mean, sure, I make mistakes sometimes. Yeah, like I do dumb things, but as a whole, I'm pretty much the same no matter where I am. So I like to think people think of me that way as being a real person, not a fake, uh, and a caring type of person too. That's the way I like to think of it, anyways.
Absolutely. So if anyone out there wants to pick up your book, learn more about you, book you for a speaking engagement, how can they do that?
You can definitely go to my website, the Tick Terminator. My book is right on there too. I have a phone number right on there, right on the first page there too. They can even call me directly, especially for speaking engagements. I have a contact information. They can, send an email to contact, and I respond to those absolutely too. So yeah, I'm very approachable. They can look if they want to look up on me. They can look up Brian Anderson, the Tick Terminator on Google, and there's several pages on there of all the podcasts I've done and speaking engagements that I've done. I've got they can look up under contact, and they can look up under reviews on my page of all the customers that we have and different things people have said about the stuff that I also sell. I call myself a consultant, a conference speaker, and author, and I help companies and outdoor workers and all kinds of outdoor enthusiasts with unique and cost-effective repellents. That's kind of my elevator speech, if you want to say,
Yeah.
So, and that's about it in a sentence,
Yeah, that's wonderful. This is fascinating. I just was very, very piqued and interested by how you do this, and it's been wonderful. Thank you for opening up your story. Best of luck with everything.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Brian. Take care.